Hi, hello, welcome to the show. Good to have you along on a sure thing with me, Rouvaun Smit, as we now look ahead to racing on the weekend. And it really is going to be a busy weekend of racing because it will kickstart off with racing at Hollywoodbets Greyville on Friday night. So there's a double header of racing action on Friday, a day that I know a lot of guys enjoy getting involved in, and not to speak of the guys that enjoy going to the track when there is night racing at Hollywoodbets Greyville. 8 races have been put together on the card. The first race gets underway at 16:45. So you of course need to be on with your Hollywoodbet punted challenge selections 5 minutes before the advertised starting time. You know the drill. It's a free entry. You take the bet slip and you keep fingers crossed that you're the one person that picks all the winners on the program. That of course will mean that you will be in line for big money were you to be the one person to pick them all. But let's see if we can find a few winners on the Hollywoodbets Greyville card. I thought a few tricky races in between where we need to play a little bit wider, but by and large I think some of the more fancied runners should arrive on the day, like for example in the opener when my eye fell on a D-Day I was sold. This horse has got solid form lines to his credit. The horse that finished just ahead of him in second in his last start was a horse called Zelta Star, who has subsequently come out and won. D-Day is the kind of horse that likes to race up handy, and I do think he'll be staying on at the business end of affairs and should be rewarded for consistency in the opener. Biggest danger, I think, might be number 4, Twilight Day. This horse 3 runs ago, over the course and distance, finished second with Tristan Godden on board. A repeat of that run could see this one in the money. I'm also including number 1, Mistress Rebecca. She carries a nice handy weight of 54 kilograms. She's having her third run after a race, so she should be fit and well to run an absolute cracker. And for fourth, I'm going with number 10, Deserto, who needed that comeback run, should strip much fitter now, second run after a race. So in the opener, I'm going 8, 4, 1 and 10. Moving on to the second race on the program, which is a Class 5 for fillies and mares to be run over 1,400 meters and a small field of just 7 runners to contest the opening leg of the place accumulator, and that jumps at 17:20. Now when looking at this race, and I got to number 4, Princess Palace, and then I got to number 6, Spirited Flight, I realized these two are renewing rivalry, with 4, Princess Palace, now a kilo and a half better off at the weights for a 0.5 length beating by number 6, Spirited Flight. But the difference between the two is that number 6, Spirited Flight, has had another run in between when staying on to finish in third. The cheek pieces, I believe, that day had done the trick, and they are fitted with cheek pieces again. This is Mark Dixon's only runner on the day, and I think she will be doing her best work late, running at them in the closing stages. So I'm going with number 6, Spirited Flight, to beat number 4, Princess Palace. For third, I'm going with 7, Purple Flower, who's got good recent form and is idly course and distance suited. And for fourth, number 5, Aspusterki, who's also got good recent form and must be included with Rachel Vennick on board. 6, 4, 7, 5 are the numbers I'm going with in race number 2. Third race on the program will be the opening leg of the pick 6. Off time of race 3 is 17:45. 12 runners to contest this Class 4 over 1,400 meters. And here I'm siding with number 4, Gimme the Good Life, as my first choice selection. This horse followed up that maiden win with a good second last time out at Hollywoodbets Scottsville. That form line has been franked by Burning Man, who finished in 9th position. And on the subject of Burning Man, he also runs in this race. And I do think that if Gimme the Good Life adopts the same tactics as last time by going to the front, maybe a hard horse to peg back in the closing stages. On the subject of Burning Man, this horse, of course, cruised to victory in its last start when fitted with blinkers, but has picked up an £8 penalty for that win, so I think has got a little bit more to do in this kind of lineup. I'm also including number 6, My Boy Lollipop, who cannot be ignored with Gavin Lorena on board. And for fourth, I'm going with 9, Fish Eagle, who has early gate speed to overcome that draw and will be staying on at the business end of affairs. So in race 3, I'm going 4, 1, 6 and 9. That takes us on to the opening leg of the jackpot, which is race 4 on the card. This race jumps at 18:30. 10 runners to contest this B Stakes over 1600 meters. And I thought, when I saw the form, Officer in Command's last 3 runs, that to me made him my first choice selection in this race. And that was because prior to those 3 runs, he had back-to-back wins. I also think that he should strip much fitter going into this race, having his second run after a rest. He will be up handy and he will be staying on when it comes to the closing stages. So 5, Officer in Command, is my first choice, ahead of number 8, last one stand side. This one ran a good second last time out and would have come on and stripped much fitter now, having his second run. For third, I'm going with 10, Royal Swan Master. This is Dean Cannemeyer's only runner on the day, who's got solid form and will also be running on at the finish. And for fourth, I'm going with number 1, Lindbergh. I think better suited to this distance and does warrant inclusion. So in race 4, I'm going 5, 8, 10 and 1. That takes us on to race 5 on the card, which is a Class 4, 9 runners to contest this 2,000 meter event. And here I'm siding with number 8, Rodriguez. Now Rodriguez ran a cracker win second over 1,600 meters last time out. He came from near last, but the way he was finishing on really was encouraging and caught the eye, and I do think that this horse going over a little bit further, we can of course see him finish off the race well again. So he is going to be the horse that I'm going with to win it, ahead of number 3, All Around the World, who's consistent. Won its penultimate over the course and distance, will be staying on in the closing stages. The Mikadu also warrants respect, but he did pick up a £3 penalty for that last win. And for fourth, I'm going with number 4, Lucretius, who's got decent form and loves the poly track. That one cannot be left out with Rachel Vennican on board. So 8, 3, 6 and 4 are the numbers I'm going with in race number 5. That takes us on to race 6, where I was umming and eyeing a bit about who I'm going to go with in the C Stakes over 1,000 meters, where 12 runners will contest the 6th race on the card. And even though this horse is coming back from an 18-week layoff, I'm going to go with number 6, Trippy T. This horse had solid form prior to that break, and I think the break would have done him well. He's from the Andre Nel yard. Andre Nel, of course, had a winner on WSB Cape Town Met Day last Saturday. That stable is in very good form. You cannot ignore anything they send out. If this horse is fit, he's got a big chance of taking the lion's share of the prize money. So 6 Triple T is my first choice selection, ahead of 2. Here in after, a repeat of that last run. I think can see him finish in the money again. For third, I'm going with 7, B52, who's been dropping in the ratings and showing signs of a form return. And for fourth, I'm going with 4, Rhythm. A chance on that previous form. If one ignores the last, he does come into this race and warrants some respect. So 6, 2, 7 and 4 are the numbers I'm going with in race number 6. That takes us onto the penultimate event on the program, race 7, which is a Class 4 for fillies and mares to be run over 1,400 meters. And here we have 12 runners who will contest race 7 on the program. And again, I'm going with a horse that's coming back from a bit of a break. I'm siding with number 4, Fort Jador, to win it. This horse was a model of consistency prior to the break. He's ideally course and distance suited, has got Raymond Danielson on board, and I do think should go close, if anywhere near being fit. For second, I'm going with 10, Green Light All the Way. This horse comes back in trip and does have a chance on his penultimate form. For third, I'm going with number 1, Grey Fantasy. Now this horse shows good early toe, and if seeing out the 1,400, will be staying on in the closing stages. And for fourth, I'm going with number 6, Beautiful Rania. Not because she's named after my niece, but I do think she's got good enough form because she was 4th last time out behind subsequent winner Lucrative, and with Rachel Vennican on board, she does warrant inclusion. So 4, 10, 1 and 6 are the numbers in race 7, and that takes us on to the lucky last, which is race 8, and this race jumps at 20:45, a Class 4 over 1,400 meters, where 12 runners are carded to contest the last race on the card. And here I'm going with number 11, Stars in Heaven. as my first choice selection. Now, he won his last 2 starts, the latest being over the strip at Hollywoodbets Greyville. He's ideally course and distance suited, with a bit of luck in running from the deepest draw. I think if he overcomes it, sits in a good position, kicks at the right time, should be the one that brings up the hat-trick. So I'm going with number 11, Stars in Heaven, to win it, ahead of number 10, King's Island, who comes back from a bit of a break and if not in need of the run, could finish in the money. For third, number 2, Wind to Waves, ideally course and distance suited. Also, if not too far back, can be a factor if he doesn't run on too late. And for fourth, I'm going with number 3, Comedy Club, who is lightly raced, can show any sign of improvement, and I do think if he takes to the poly, can feature here. So 11, 10, 2 and 3 are the numbers I'm going with in the last race on the card, and that wraps up our preview of night racing at Hollywoodbets Greyville. Remember, this show has been pre-recorded, so I would suggest on the day, just check the card changes if I have given you any selections that you may also fancy that may be scratched. So do take note of all of that on race day. Other than that, do have an enjoyable and profitable night racing at Greyville. From me, Rouvaun, till next time, take care. Cheers for now.